A little request from me, if I may. I am so keen to get more subscribers, follows, and likes and ratings for the show. It's such hard work to get people to leave a review. I get it. I don't leave loads of reviews for stuff, but I am trying to be more mindful of the fact that it is super useful for people to receive those. So I'm trying to leave more reviews and ratings for the shows that I love because I know the impact that it makes. And I would just love it so much if you could do the same for this show. Sometimes if you've got to log in, it's a bit of a pain, but on Spotify and Apple in particular, it is very easy to do. You can just hit the rating button on Spotify and leave a rating on that. That's it. There are no review options on Spotify. So it will literally be 1 or 2 clicks on Spotify. For Apple, again, you can just leave the rating if you like, but you do have the option to include a little cheeky review in there as well. So if you do enjoy the show, then please do take just a few moments today to leave me a review. It really would mean a lot. I would appreciate it so much. So thank you in advance. On with the show. Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bio. Stay tuned to find out what invisible PR is and what you can do to impact your own invisible PR. This week, I am having a chat with myself. Yes, it's a solo episode. I've not done one for a while because I've had so many fantastic guests. But this week, I am talking about invisible PR. Invisible PR is something that I have spoken about within my new book, From Unknown to Unforgettable, How to Build a Personal Brand That Goes Beyond the Bio. And I think it's something that is a really interesting topic. I mean, have you heard the term before? Have you heard of the term invisible PR? Basically, it's what people think or say about you when you're not in the room. And it can often be made up of a series of small actions that on their own seem inconsequential but add up to the view that someone's going to have of you. This covers your online and offline activity. And no doubt you'll have heard the phrase about being good to people on your way up, as you'll never know who you might meet on your way down. And this is something that I can relate to so much. When I think back to when I was a fresh-faced young graduate, I remember some more senior members of staff in my first job behaving in a way that was actually pretty rude or dismissive towards me. And on several occasions that I still recall, however many years later, I think it would be behaviour that they would get sacked for these days. Now, at the time, I just bit my tongue and noted it. But fast forward 5 or 6 years, when I was in a more senior role at the head office, the way that they behaved towards me then, whenever our paths crossed, was very different. But did I forget how they made me feel at 22? Did I? Heck, I would always remember that and I would always just be a little bit reserved and thinking, yep, I remember when I was junior to you and you said X, Y, and Z or made me feel like this. And now you're kind of sucking up to me. And I just, it was noted for sure. And this is the thing with invisible PR. Like personal brands, we all have a personal brand and we all have invisible PR. So it is that whole thing about what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. And another way that I like to bring this concept to life is to think about famous people that we think we know, but we probably don't. So I do an exercise in a talk that I run or a workshop sometimes where I show famous faces and I get the audience to shout out words that they associate with these personalities. I always have a few very topical names, but if I have too many topical ones right now, then it is going to date the podcast. So I'm going to read out a few names of people that I think you'll know but have not met. And I want you to just think about what comes to mind when I say these names. First up, Donald Trump. What do you think of when Donald Trump pops into your mind? What kind of words pop into your mind? What about Kate Middleton? What about Elon Musk? And my last one is Oprah. What do we think about Oprah? Oprah Winfrey, if we give her a full name, but everyone knows who Oprah is, right? Now, you're probably thinking about these people right now, or as I've said those names, there'll be various words that pop into your head. So what is it that is springing to mind when you're thinking of those people? So here are some of the words that I've heard in relation to those people. Very rich, crazy, elegant, legend, classy, orange, bet you know who that one is, regal, accomplished. So they are words that I hear a lot as I read through those names. And I don't think there will be any prizes for guessing or matching up which words go with which of those names. In fact, I'd put 100 quid on knowing who you thought of on my list as you listen to me reading out those words. It's so powerful, isn't it, as an exercise? So simple, but so powerful, because we will have thought of 5 or 6 words that we very confidently and clearly associate with each of those personalities. But like I said before, we probably, none of us, have met those people, or we certainly won't have met all 4 of them. Yet we have this very clear picture in our minds as to what we think that they are about. So this is their invisible PR. There's a really cool clip that you will find if you just Google it or look it up on, I think it's TikTok that it's on. And it's a clip of Stephen Bartlett talking about the concept of invisible PR. And I recommend that you go and have a listen. In fact, we will link to it in the show notes. And in the clip, Stephen is talking about the concept of invisible PR, and he talks about how when he's running Social Chain, he's sat on a flight and there's the guy from Man vs. Food is sat near him on this flight. And at the time, in his business, they have some group chat where they communicate, and they have something within the business where they talk about what people's favourite sandwich is. And because this guy's Man vs. Food and they're really interested in that, and I think he said that they ran some Facebook group or page that was linked to Loving Food or something. So there was some real connection there, and his team could definitely get excited about this Man vs. Food guy. So he puts in the chat, oh my God, this guy's on my flight, wow, sort of thing, bit starstruck. And the team are messaging back, ask him what his favourite sandwich is, ask him what his favourite sandwich is. And he goes up to the guy and starts to talk to him. And he said, you know, hey, I think he was called Steve. Hey, Steve. And as soon as he just even gets this guy's first name out, the guy puts a hand up and says, not now. So a really powerful, aggressive, angry response when he doesn't even know what Stephen Bartlett's going to say to him. And you know, I guess if we're being kind, he must have been getting lots of approaches at that time, this guy. I guess he was quite well known in, I've never watched Man vs. Food, but guess he was quite well known and used to people wanting to have their picture taken or have a bit of crack about food. And he's on a flight, baby's going on holiday, and he just can't be bothered to have those conversations. But obviously the impact of that is Stephen Bartlett has to go back to his seat and message in the group chat that he didn't get to find out what this guy's favourite sandwich was. And then the story goes full circle because he then talks about the fact that he starts Diary of a CEO, it gets big, it gets popular, and I think he said, you have to listen to the clip to be sure, but I think he says that he tells the story on Diary of a CEO, and this guy gets wind of it and apologises, I guess, because he's mortified that the show's so big and he's telling this story about how he was so rude to him. And I just think it goes back to what I was saying before about be good to the people on your way up, as you never know kind of what it's going to be like on the way back down. And he obviously didn't know Stephen Bartlett was going to become this business megastar. And now loads of people know that story. So really, really interesting example. And within that clip, he also talks about a guy in his team, I think he was called Tom, who goes out and gets somebody else a plaster during some work incident. And that gave his colleagues the impression that he was kind, he was thoughtful, he was caring towards his teammates, team player. And then at the point where they were thinking about who to promote into a role, that example came up. Now, that's nothing to do with Tom's ability to do the job, nothing technical in that whatsoever. But there's something there around values and ethics, which are really important things when you're hiring for a role. So really, really interesting that cropped up in the conversation and actually influenced Tom getting the promotion at work. So good to reflect on. And I was talking to someone about this in a workshop or a talk that I did recently, and I was talking about how when I get to a certain point in the year, usually now, so October, November time, and I start feeling a bit burnt out and a bit tired and maybe a bit grumpy, actually, if I'm being honest. And I get to a point where I know I need to stop going to so many events, which is unfortunate because this is event season where there's all sorts of awards and dinners and things. And I know that I get to a point where I'm just so exhausted that I can't present myself in a way that I would like to. I can't be charming and upbeat because my tank is just empty of energy. So I have to really check in with myself and pull back from those sorts of things to be able to come back feeling brighter and be able to come across well. The other thing, as I get older, is that my eyesight's not so good anymore. And I used to have perfect vision. So I really resent the fact that I don't have perfect vision anymore. And I struggle, if I don't wear glasses, to recognize people's faces quickly in the way that I used to. Maybe it's my eyesight, maybe it's my age, who knows? But I do struggle with that a bit, and I worry that I walk past people at events because I haven't spotted them and that they might think I'm rude. And this again links back to this whole invisible PR thing. So I think there's something around being aware of it. And if you're aware of something, you then have a choice as to what you do and how you respond to certain situations and things. So, yeah, I'm aware of those things for me, and I'm aware of what I need to do if I don't want to come across as a moody, miserable, whatever. Yeah. So there we go. Fascinating topic there. Your invisible PR, it is linked to how you decide to define your brand. So it's knowing what your strengths are and what you want to be known for. So there we have it. Invisible PR, giving you something to think about there, I think. As always, let me know what you think of the show. I'll catch you for my Take Action on Thursday and see you for next week's main show on Monday. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you're serious about growing your profile, take our free profile assessment quiz to see where you're at right now and get hints and tips on how to improve your score. You'll find the link to the quiz in the show notes. If you've enjoyed the episode, it would be mint if you'd subscribe, like, and leave a review. See you next Monday.